Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Edward. I don't have a slideshow or anything like that. I am just going to speak from the heart about some of the things that Rob has been talking about. I'm going to skip over a lot of the material you may already know. Hot reading, cold reading. I'm assuming most everybody knows about that. If you don't, I can take questions later. So I am a science activist. My background is in magic, and I worked as a professional psychic for 9 years. Undercover, okay? I was a skeptic the whole time. Back then I was working with Michael Shermer. So I studied it. I made it my life's work to scam the scammers. Get in there and do something. So my bottom line about what I'm going to talk about is we're in such a mess with all this. Do something. And although COVID has shut down a lot of the international travel that Susan and I were doing, which was really taken off, you can still work from home and do a lot of good. You can sink your teeth into some of these stings that I'll be talking about and do something. That's the intro. Who am I? I don't have a whole lot of time. You can go to my website. My website is www.themarkedward. It's all there. Okay, and the Wikipedia page is I'm pretty proud of as well. So I'm going to start with Operation Pizza Roll, which is most of the stings that we do. I am a performer, so I write, but I really need to be out in the street doing things, confronting these things. So I love going to places and doing an operation. So we've done several stings. They're all named after food. Operation Pizza Roll was probably the most successful because we worked with a New York Times writer who wanted to find somebody who was using hot reads, but we had to give them really good evidence so that they wouldn't get in trouble. And one of the reasons we liked working with New York Times is because they have good lawyers, and we don't want to preach to the choir anymore, okay? I mean, I'm really happy all you guys are here, but it's not enough. We need to reach out to the biggest audience we can get, because we are like salmon swimming upstream. Look at all the TV shows. And I'm not talking about fictional paranormal things. I don't have a particular problem with that. But when TV talk shows give psychics a platform, then you're causing a problem as far as I'm concerned. So the New York Times article, you can look it up. It really gave us a big boost because suddenly there were all sorts of television producers getting in touch with us and wanting us to do a quote unquote reality show. But when it came down to it, they wanted to do it their way, which is not going to work. Okay, Susan and I have made an agreement that we are not going to be involved with any kind of production that shows both sides. That's over, done, We're not going to have the end say, well, maybe there are psychics. Wow. No, unless we get a full agreement, we are going for the jugular. We are bringing these people down to the earth. Not just the psychics, but the audience as well. So along those lines, I don't have a lot of time. We just did a sting last night. Those of you who are in the Guerrilla Skepticism group or in About Time, which is Susan's group, will be hearing about that. I won't go into it because it's so dismal. I mean, it's just, you cannot believe what people are lapping up right now. So it's kind of the trail end of the generation that is tired of lies. They want help. That's why this is happening. the medium last night said, why do I see a shoe store? That's really powerful reading and so helpful. Can't believe it. So we are now, since the pizza roll rolled out, we're working on the mother of all stings, which is going to be called Operation Lima Bean. So put that in your notes. You'll be hopefully hearing about it. However, as with our agreement about not showing both sides, those times are over. We are really working hard to find the biggest media outlet we can get. So if you know anybody, get in touch with us. Of course this will be in Skeptical Inquirer magazine. Where else? It's not going to be in Popular Mechanics, But that's not enough. The thing we're trying to get is a big media name that will give us more than 3 minutes of skeptical content, That's not enough. But pretty much after we do this next thing, everything is set up already. All we have to do is get the right place to put it, a national media source that has some credibility. Not going to be on Dr. Oz or anything like that. I guarantee that. We need an outside source that is well known, like the New York Times. That went out to millions of people. Otherwise, we're just preaching to the choir. So activism has its limits. You can go to a psychic show and protest it. So what? It's really, it's fun, and I highly encourage it. It's good to get out there and show how you feel. And but we need big media coverage. So I'm putting that out here because who knows where it will land, okay? So also I highly suggest my book. I'm going to show it right now, Psychic Blues, which is what I did when I went undercover in the psychic world. These are my adventures dealing with all different kinds of psychic performance pieces, because really this is a performance art. It's not a supernatural wonder by any means. So Psychic Blues is worth reading if you want to hear some of the most ridiculous things I came across. It's very dark humored, okay? You probably won't like me after you read the book, but that's the way it goes. I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm an anti-hero, okay? I'll go with that. All right, so something like this big, like we're working on with, hi Hamilton, something like this that we're working on is, it's too big to be wasted on the choir. It's because we really feel that if we can do Operation Lima Bean, that's going to punch such a big hole in mediumship that nobody will be able to say, hey, I can talk to the dead. I mean, they can say it, anybody can say it, but it's going to really make a difference. So in other news, I just did a consultation and interview for a show called The Con. I don't know if anybody has seen that yet. I highly recommend it. It's very well done. It's produced by Star Price. Star Price was the producer of Penn and Teller's Bullshit. Whether you like that show or not, he knows what I'm talking about, and we work well together. So I've heard my episode is going to be in season 2. So season 1, I think, just wrapped up. Very well done, very informative, and really, again, we're not showing both sides. We're saying, look, this is what's going on. And I mean, a couple of the stories, the one that I was consulted on, a woman lost $780,000 to her psychic. So it's a real mess, but there is hope. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and you guys are there. Really glad you're there, because this is the kind of thing where the news spreads and things get done. So both Susan and I, Susan is much more aggressive than I am. We want to get things done. We want to push the envelope as far as we can until it gets right to the point of being illegal, and then dial back a little bit. That's what it is, okay? That's what activism should be. And we've seen how powerful it can be in the political arena. So it shouldn't be that hard with people who are scam artists, because their tools they're using are basically Facebook and the internet. And it's amazing people don't even think about, you know, we put our most deepest thoughts and images on Facebook, and we never consider what might happen. Oh, I just went to full screen. Is that all right? We never consider what might happen to the information we put out there. So the con is good. We're doing continued research into finding partners who have legitimacy and who are willing to do what we want. You know, we've done enough television and worked with enough people, you know, when they say to us, well, we can't pay you, but we can give you a nice piece of tape. It's like, you've got lots of tape. What we don't have is a commitment to bust some of this stuff up, you know? And it only takes one nice, maybe 25-minute segment going national that can really help a lot of people. So that's basically my bottom line. It's number one, just to give you a quick introduction to myself. Number two, to make an appeal to those TV producers and Netflix people and all of that, you know. You do like a 12-part miniseries on the Queen, you know. Great. Throw a little change towards skepticism and, you know, do it right. Make it humorous, make it palatable, and it can be really, really a good thing. I was on Adam Ruins Everything. I've been on, what else? Brain Games. These are young people who really know how to sell critical thinking. And they wrap it in a nice wrapper and you laugh, but really underneath is this dark side. So really, the one thing I'm really missing is travel, because up until COVID came along, we were traveling all over the world and we were having great success everywhere we went. I was Susan's opening act, and we really have had a blast. And so we've made a lot of inroads, and we've seen how in different countries, how people react to this idea of talking to the dead. And it's universally known about, and some countries think it, you know, they take it for granted. It's bullshit. Unfortunately, here we have a different story. So is that about 20 minutes?
You can tell people how to get involved if they want to get in contact with me.
Yeah, well, Susan's going to talk about how to get in touch with her. I gave you my website. Feel free to send me a message. I'm also on Facebook, Mark Edward. Is somebody there?
I said you have about 6 minutes left before your required Q&A, but you can end anytime you want. You know, you can end if you want.
Well, 6 minutes. I'll use it as much as I can. So again, it's a media situation. They're the ones who are promulgating all these ridiculous claims. And once you give somebody a platform, excuse me, once you give somebody a platform, there is no stopping them. The next thing you know, they have their own television show. And despite the fact that we've totally discredited Thomas John, and we know how he works, he's into his, what, fourth TV show now?
No,
Second TV show.
Tell them what we just found on this recent sting with the...
What's that?
Tell them what we are doing with the investigation of the background on the most recent psychic clues.
Well, it's kind of complicated. I'm going to let Susan talk about it, but you mean seatbelt psychic.
Because I'm not talking about
We are just riding this guy on the seatbelt psychic thing, because when we first heard of it, we just thought, like, what's next? You know,
what it is.
psychic garbage man. Look, I found this doll in the trash, and it's telling me that your grandmother had a garden. You know, I mean, how far can you go? So, despite the fact that this stuff is so silly, you know, one thing we learned when we did a sting on Sylvia Browne, there's been several, was we found out that an awful lot of people who pass by on the street do not believe in any of this. But we're very close into this, and we're very insulated as skeptics. So we tend to think that, you know, there's 10 psychics on every corner. And I'm not trying to discount the fact that it's a scourge, as Houdini called it. There is hope. There are people who just pass by. They don't buy tickets to see any of these people, because part of it is a lot of them are bereaved. They don't have anyone else to go to, so they will go to Thomas John, because Thomas John's going to give them some message that they posted on Facebook a year ago, and that's the sad part. So that's why my book is called Psychic Blues, because people need someone to talk to. And if people need someone to talk to, there's always someone who will sell them their intimacy. And mediumship is very intimate. It has to do with emotions. It's how they get people to cry. To me, getting people to cry on television is not entertainment. How sick is that, you know? Getting someone to break down and cry. It's not helping anything. But once I get on my soapbox, I will not stop. So I think I am going to now open this up to some questions, if there are any.
All right. It looks like Olga has something to ask.
Okay.
But it's not a question. It's a kind of
Go ahead.
I see what is going on. It's a lot of in the United States. There are a lot of cults, and from my point of view, like celebrity cults or superheroes cults and a lot of other things. So it's not like it's starting from and it's starting from childhood, and how do you are going to deal with all this culture, and when money involved and huge money, when Christian church was competing with psychics for money, they kind of fight it really, but now you are not competing with them, you see, for even it's very difficult to say. It's a lot of psychological reasons that people go to it.
Right, but you know, I have to jump in. I mean, I'm not here to fight religion. I can't. That's just way too big. It's. I once said to Randy, if you really wanted to get to the bottom of this, you're going to have to go after the Pope. And we had a little laugh. But you know, it happens to be true. That's part of the problem. My concern is $780,000 would buy me a really nice house. And if I had decided 20 years ago that that's what I was going to do, I could have done that. But I had a conscience, and I said, no, this is not right. So, you know, a big problem, but it's the cons. That's why I tell people, watch these shows like The Con. Another really good one is Hustle, which is a British production. It will teach you a lot about the kind of nefarious practices that are going on. I mean, personally, I don't have a problem if somebody goes to a Halloween pumpkin festival and gets their lines in their hand read by a gypsy. Pretty much harmless. It can still be dangerous and lead to, it's a gateway drug. But, you know, yeah, if you want to get to the bottom of it, go to church. They see ghosts all the time, and they talk to them. So, but what am I going to do? I have to start where I can be effective. I don't want to be, you know, burned at the stake or something. So.
So our next question is from Adrian Hill, GSOW.
Yay! Hi, Adrian.
Hey, Mark. I just have, yeah, my question is, have you ever seen the show The Mentalist? It's an older series with Simon Baker.
Yeah.
And I think my thing that's great is his catchphrase is there's no such thing as psychics, but he uses the techniques of psychics. So,
Right. Well, no, what it is psychics have used the techniques of mentalists for decades and centuries. And yeah, that show was a real good break for a lot of us who do mentalism, because for a long time you'd walk out on stage and you'd say, "Hi, I'm Mark Edward. I'm a mentalist," and people would be like, "What is that?" You know. So once that show aired, people got a pretty good idea. I think it was a little over exaggerated, but yeah, it's kind of a Sherlock Holmes way of thinking. But it has to be done immediately in the moment, and you have to dance pretty fast sometimes. So yeah, it was a very good entree for people to find out about mentalism. But still, fiction. I am more in the direction of shows like The Con, where they will take a specific incident and then they will investigate it, and they will show the specific techniques that were used, not in a dramatic context, but in the context of this is real, this happened.
Where Darren Brown would be another example.
Well, Darren Brown's a mentalist. He's an entertainer too. I don't think that, I mean, there's been some things that he has done which are helpful to skepticism, absolutely. But it's still not going for the jugular. It's still couched as entertainment. And if you have that idea that, you know, all the rest of that was fake, but that one thing that he did, maybe there is something to it. That's got to be taken out of the mix. As far as I'm concerned, you know, bring me an idea and I'll help you with it. But I don't like to. I mean, I don't like disclaimers. When I do a seance, I don't say, "Hey, this is all a trick." I just can't do that. It goes against my my personality, because somebody's paying me to play this part. It's like an actor doesn't say, "Hey, I'm just acting. This didn't really happen." Well, I don't want to get into that because
thank you.
Get me in a real mess. But the idea is to try and stay with things that are educational, humorous, and show how easily we can not only be fooled, but fool ourselves. That makes sense.
So, all right. So I guess we'll give the next question to Jan, J-A-N-N.
Yes, it's Jan. Do
Yeah,
you have
Jan,
any
okay.
questions? It's okay. I'm with a skeptical group here in Toronto, Canada, and you know, skeptical groups they tend to attract like-minded people, and it's not really, I guess, attractive or entertaining to, I guess, others. Do you have any suggestions as to how skeptical groups could be more entertaining and more attractive to the general public or other people?
Yeah, I think that it's all in presentation, just like in magic or art or anything else. It's the framing, it's the presentation. That's what draws people in. Just being called a skeptic group is really a hard sell. That's why I refer to myself as a science activist, okay? Because it has a nice polish to it instead of saying skeptic, you know, skeptics in the pub. What the hell, you know? Skeptics shouldn't be in the pub anyway, but if you make something like that fun, if you add a magician in once in a while, or you have a magic club that meets, or you use humor, okay? Humor, I think, is the lever to get a really good production, whether it's television or radio or whatever. You use humor, not deprecatory humor towards believers, but just say, hey, laugh at yourself. I always wanted to be the Andy Rooney of the paranormal. You know, give me a chance. Give me 2 minutes at the end of a show to say, I don't know if you don't know who Andy Rooney is. At the end you go, what's going on with this chewing gum and skateboard stuff? You know, he just threw it out in a humorous way, and then he disappeared. So he wasn't exactly stating, you know, painting with a broad brush and saying, hey, it's all bullshit. He was just saying, what is up with this ghost hunting thing? You know, he's making people aware of it in a way that was inquisitive and curious and not putting them down. So I think that, you know, having some entertainment, having field trips, maybe going to museums, you know, getting out of the pub, getting out of the one room that people meet in every month or whatever. That's how you get interest, because when you go to those other places, you'll pick up new people, and that's how you grow a good skeptic group.
Thank
All
you.
right.